you guys whenever we can. For now, in the top right, a Red Protoss player from Storm. This is going to be MaxPax. Bottom left, Blue Darren is GuMiho. Alright, a little bit of Terran vs. Protoss semi-final time here today. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you all. Thanks so much for tuning in there. The viewership's been great. Again, appreciate you guys helping make these events as successful as they can be by just, again, tuning in, watching, enjoying. Awesome. Yep, GuMiho playing for Cloud9, guys. I cast him yesterday a little bit in the ESL Open Cup Korea. Talked a little bit about that then, but obviously really cool pickup on the side of StarCraft. And basically my TLDR is really expect a lot of teams to probably pick up players ahead of next year's Game is 8. And if there's a teamless player ahead of Game is 8 next year, there is no chance they don't get picked up. I think a lot of teams are going to pick up players ahead of time, hoping that their players will make Game is 8, because that club prize pool, the prize money that a team can win, but just having like players do well, you know, from their team across different games, absolutely huge. So yeah, that's going to be a... Like, I'm not saying that's necessarily the only reason that Cloud9 picked him up. I gotta imagine it's a pretty good reason. Even if they don't know it's going to happen yet, it's a pretty good bet. And probably cheap enough right now for the potential payoff it could have later on next year. So, yeah. And like I say, I think we're going to see a few teams picking up a StarCraft player here or there. As this Adept will come through, and the Adept will just go and put some damage out onto the Reaper. So Reaper taking some hits and pushed away over to the left-hand side just for a few moments. And now a couple of Reapers coming up. Factory is going to get a Hellion on the go as well. And the Reaper of GuMiho continues to push down to the bottom side of the map. Just try and find a little bit of something extra here for these next couple of moments. So all of that just on the way through. Getting a few extra shots off as well, so again, some decent damage in that regard. With more Reapers and a Hellion, I mean, you're definitely looking as GuMiho to ideally get across the map and do something, right? If you don't do anything here, then, you know, you're making an investment that doesn't go anywhere, that obviously really isn't great, so you do generally want to do something. Currently just trading with Adepts. Good micro back on those Reapers, going to keep them away, even using the range advantage of the Reapers to get some extra shots in. That's a good cleanup from GuMiho. Very nicely done. Lost one Reaper, killed two Adepts so far. It does delay the attack of these units, which maybe is all MaxPax wants. By delaying the attack, you should in theory make it so that these Hellions and Reapers will never get to your mineral line before you're ready to really greet them. And maybe that in part is why MaxPax would be okay with the trade that just ended up happening. Man. Not so much when 4 probes still go down, though. Damn. Alright, well. Phoenix coming around, Marines and Cyclone getting set up as well. Cyclone firing up. Phoenix going to get pushed away. And that medevac just loading up a few Marines. Take those back over the far left-hand side. There's a couple of the Cyclones and the Liberator continue over. Phoenix still poised on the bottom of the map. And Cyclone's just locking on. Just going to push those Phoenix back a little bit. Still got that medevac moving up the top left-hand side. Twilight Council is going to be finishing up very soon. Now Forge coming in as well. Phoenix come in, just going to grab ourselves that cheeky little Marine right there. We have again Cyclone still coming up. 2 more factories. We're actually just straight up meching it as GuMiho. Oh, I love it! Alright. Well, I was slandering mech a little bit in PvP in the broadcast today. Right now, in the semifinals, we are going to see GuMiho mech it up. Going to see if MaxPax will be able to come out on the other end alive as a couple Cyclones continue through. Going to go after those Stalkers. The Medivac will go down. The Cyclones will do well on the Stalkers, just because they're outnumbered initially. Now actually getting onto the Phoenix, there's not really anything else to damage the Cyclones unless the Phoenix can lift, which currently, obviously, they can't, otherwise they would be. And my goodness, that is actually going to turn out to be a turnaround here from GuMiho as he actually chases back in, and MaxPax continues to take damage. He needs to stabilize. On his way to charge as well. That's going to be his next stopping point with this tech in the game. There's the Hurricane Thrusters, Cyclone Speed. We don't see that every day, but yep, get those Cyclones to be a bit speedier. Pretty much a necessity if you're going to continue to play a Cyclone-focused style here. So yeah, that really does just remain as, like I say, an absolute requirement, essentially. Otherwise, these Cyclones are just a little bit too slow to really stick around, as it's going to be seeing our charge coming up. And just have our +1 attack upgrade coming through. The Phoenix going to go back through the center. Cyclones lock on. The Phoenix already taking a couple of shots. SCVs will repair up that Cyclone as well. Bring that back to some better HP already. And this couple of SCVs going to turn around and get that Cyclone brought back up to good HP also. Again, Gateway's coming through. Nexus and the +1 coming through. And you see our Phoenix diving in. We're going to grab ourselves 4 SCVs. So 4 workers going down. The Phoenix continue back around through the bottom side, back out onto the map. And again, the Cyclones will just move back to the top or through the center. Or what are we going to do, Cyclones? Make up your mind. I'm kind of sat here watching them like, do something. Apparently they don't want to do something just yet. MaxPax runs across. It's going to be heading back home. I mean, honestly, it feels like it's been a great opening from GuMiho. Resource lost us even in the end. So I guess maybe it's not as great as I wanted it to be. I kind of thought he'd actually traded pretty well, but I can say maybe not quite the case. But he has made it into the mid-game for mech, so sometimes that's a challenge if the Protoss gets a bit of momentum. Sometimes they can just go and then never stop going, right? As these Liberators are going to commit onto the Phoenix. Was that a mistake? Apparently not. Wow, good micro from GuMiho. Good call as well. That's a very brave call to make. Just be like, hey, look, I can absolutely slam down my foot and just kind of, attack with these Liberators and put as much damage on these Phoenix as possible and not take damage from it myself. I think that's actually an amazing call. Jeez. Credit to GuMiho there, because that's just not an easy call to make. Like I said, I probably just said the same thing 3 times, but yeah, keeping those libs alive. Nice little touch as army supplies continue to grow pretty linearly in this game. No one player is going to start massing up too much ahead of the other guy. Cyclones and Hellions will find a chance to get onto a few of those Zealots. Cyclones coming back over this side. A couple more Zealots taking damage. Things still coming up as Zealots are going to go after even more of them SCVs. So again, more damage being dealt for the moment. Okay, I mean, honestly, overall, it's looking nice for MaxPax. Gets in for damage, but he needs to be able to hold on the other side. If the Liberators get siege and the Cyclones get forward, this could be a terrifying position. 2 Colossi on the way, but not ready yet. So much army supply spent on Zealots counter-attacking across the map. The CVs are being jumped on, the Liberators are firing, the Zealots going down. There we go, we're just going to push on forwards. A couple Cyclones getting lifted up, but that doesn't help you clean out the Liberators, and the Liberators will be an answer for the Colossi. If the Liberators live here, the Colossi would have to move through Liberation zones to fight. The Zealots come back from the other side, though, flanking, and the Zealot flank is very good. The Hellions and the Cyclone being lifted at the end there. This last Liberator will fall to a Stalker. GuMiho's army is going to end up going down. It's going to end up being cleaned out. Probe goes down, a few more Cyclones coming about. We continue to the bottom right. Gonna grab the Nexus on the far right-hand side as well. Again, a couple Libs, Cyclones, Hellions, just all on the way through. The Liberator sieging up as well. Just gonna have our Zealots charging forward. That Cyclone's gonna get picked off once more. Zealots wrapped around. Cyclone goes down. GuMiho sets up on the right side of the map. Liberator's gonna try and siege up. You can see now we're again Lib sieged again. Cyclones are set. Pylon is gonna take a little bit more damage. Our tanks can continue to fire. And there's going to be seeing our Liberators continue to deal some damage. Can we clean up this army? It feels like the flanking Zealots repeatedly have been great, and I actually just do not think we have a good enough answer to Colossi right now. Nice cleanup from MaxPax again. He's finding the fights and the engagements that he needs. GuMiho gets in for some more damage though. That Lib showing up. Stalkers fire up, Liberator takes a couple of shots, the probes get back to mining. Things begin to settle once more here as our Dark Shrine is about to be done. The Prism and the +2/+2 upgrades continue as well. And our Vikings continue to build. Them Zealots chased by the Hellions. Pushing around the left-hand side. Stalker's going to push back. Tanks will try and siege. First tank goes down. Immortal Zealots still taking shots, still getting pushed away. Just going to be seeing this tank come sieging. Going to pull back down to the bottom side of the map. Colossi continue to come through. Stalker's going to blink forward again. A couple of those Hellions will get picked off. Well, Vikings coming through. Just going to be seeing our Immortal and our +2 armor coming up. Hellions come across. I mean, now GuMiho plays defensive. Can MaxPax actually find a way to fight in? Couple tanks firing up. It's going to be seeing a Colossi backing away. This army of GuMiho going to rotate back around to the bottom side. Get set up over there as a big push of GuMiho. I mean, that's what he does have. This army is quick. And on Hecate, if your opponent's backing away up the left, you can get up the right extremely quickly. And that's exactly what happens here. Give us MaxPax this kind of setup where, again, you just get straight across, you get in position, you get on top of the base. Oh, it gives GuMiho that setup where you get on top of the base, sorry. Army gets back to the center. Prism setting up. 9 probes went down. GuMiho's supply. I mean, he's down 25 workers. He is in a bit of a pain when it comes to that, honestly. As just going to be seeing a Hellion, Siege Tank, Cyclone, Lib Viking all pressing through. Just going to see a couple Stalker shots coming out. The Hellions will take some damage. Liberators would love to get sieged up on top of these Colossi. First one goes down. Actually, the tank's getting some good shots off. The Vikings as well. Colossi dying. And the Libs and tanks will take position on this base. Maybe MaxPax's best moment to go would be now, just because all those tanks are on siege and relocating. Once again, we've got Zealots across the map, but MaxPax needs to focus right here, right now. As this Nexus begins to go down, Zealots and DTs on the other side are really getting rid of the economy of GuMiho. GuMiho's on essentially one all-in push. The missile turret's a moment away from finishing, and the DTs get there. Okay, they get cleaned up soon after, but that's a little bit of a frustration. And of course, you're going to need those missile turrets supporting you. If we're going to have, you don't want to have to scan every single time. The Vikings are running a lot of the work, but I'm afraid the army on the ground ain't going to be good enough in the end. We will turn, fight. Zealots obviously just very good against everything in this scenario. Lower numbers of mech units. Zealots are generally going to do very well. GG is called, and MaxPax wins the first game. It was in the bottom right. A Red Protoss player from Psystorm. This is going to be MaxPax. That Storm is ripping apart the clouds as Cloud9's GuMiho, the blue Terran player, in the top left-hand corner of this best of 3. Alrighty. Well, the mech didn't work, so I would like to see something a little different this time around from GuMiho. I don't think that's too crazy of a request. I think it's actually a fairly responsible request, actually. As that probe heads towards the upper side of the map, so just going to get across and look for some early scouting annoyances. Just looks to be involved in the early stages of this game, so gets that up and running. Probe nibbling up at that SCV. SCV taking quite a lot of shots. So the SCV going to jump onto the racks, finish building it. So again, MaxPax just trying to be an annoyance here. Nothing really too crazy in the end. Cybercore, Nexus continuing through. Paper in the factory continues up. Orbital command coming in. And Nexus is about halfway done. The assimilator going to be finishing shortly. And our warp gate coming through. Nothing really too surprising about the builds. Factory before expansion from GuMiho. He's going to have the minerals to expand now, so it's a pretty typical just expand after factory. This is one of those builds we've seen really dominate the TVP meta over the last couple of years. I wouldn't even say it's a build, it's more like an opening, like the very first kind of like couple, the ordering of things that you do initially, obviously that is a build, right? But I'd say it's more of like, it's not even a complete build, it's just the opening, because it can then lead into so many different things and ways of playing. So, in this case, we're going to get a Cyclone and a couple of Marines. GuMiho is still going to play with them Cyclones. I do feel like GuMiho did well earlier in the game. It was honestly, I think the most impressive part on my side was that MaxPax was so good when it came to, yeah, MaxPax was just so good when it came to, as a Cyclone, going to go and get the Adept. Nice little catch. Reaper going to go after the Adept. MaxPax was so good at taking the engagements. He was always surrounding. He was always getting the flanks. I think if it wasn't for that, the Cyclones would have been able to kite a lot more, get a lot more value in the earlier stages, and that would have made the later stage of the game that much more difficult as well, right? So I think that would have been a bit of a factor. As our blink continues up, the warp gate continues in. Gateway is about to finish. Robo facility going to be done. It's a second gateway on the way out as well. So all of that coming through just for the moment. We get all of that up and rolling as our Cyclone and the Medevac continue to build. A couple of Marinis are building up as well. So all of that continues through. Scope was there to turn that Reaper around in the center. Still got our Robo facility coming up. The gateway coming down. Again, that blink is coming through as well. Cyclone and the Lib and the Marines all building. Just getting up as much of those as we possibly can for the moment. Somebody comes in over on the natural. We do have our Marines heading down to the bottom. Again, Prism coming up, Blink coming through, a couple of Cyclones and the Reaper making their way all the way down the south here as we are going to lock onto this pylon. So pylon already taking some shots. Marines in the Medevac will turn back around to that left-hand side. The pylon will go down pretty much immediately. First Stalker drops, second Stalker going to be in range as well. Prism lift to save it. And is it time for GuMiho to back away? I mean, we're talking about 3 gates of Blink Stalkers. The Prism's dead! That's not getting away. It will mean the Cyclones commit forward, which means they take a bit more damage. Gonna try and now use the line of sight of blockers to their favor. Did okay. Gonna see a few Marines dropping back down once again. Marines come through. A couple Stalkers gonna blink about. More of these Marines will continue to get going. Just gonna see our Stalkers continue to come about. Raven and a few more probes continuing in. Let's just have our observer coming around. A couple of barracks, engineering bay, Raven building up. Dark Shrine continues through. Nexus still building. Couple of barracks on the way in. SCVs and Marines are still producing through. Extra Stalker gets warped. Bunker is going to take some damage. He's going to be getting salvaged up. Stalkers will grab that. Adapt is just going to jump back up into said prism. Again, the Dark Shrine is coming through as well. There's another assimilator out over on the edge. A couple of Stalkers going for the Liberator. Liberator will go down. Stalkers get behind the SCVs, the Raven. It's going to be there. Marines will be there to push the prison back a little bit as well. Prison. That's going to be recalled home. Good defense from GuMiho. Obviously playing bio this time around. Not going to stick to his mech guns as he had in that first game. You can't blame him, right? It went a little bit hurt. You know, it didn't really go the way he wanted it to at the end of the day, right? So, makes sense as our factory moves over to the edge, drops down a reactor. He's going to be seeing this army of GuMiho would love to get out onto the map. Couple DTs coming up, the additional gates are building. We do have our charge and our +1 coming by. The Raven's still overhead. And we do have a lot more gates just going down on the natural expansion too. Just continue to bring that up. Again, +1 attack and charge continues to come in. I'm enjoying the DT harass, but that's going to be the end of it because the prism goes down and that means you can't be as creative anymore. This one DT is still known about. The Raven's right there, GuMiho. You didn't need to scan that for sure. I think he was afraid there's still a DT in the main base, perhaps. But yeah, that was just a little bit caught up. Fire pushes out. Stalkers get chased away. Still +1 stim and combat being brought into play right now. Our Zealots will continue up the right-hand side. Robo Bay and the extra gateway is still coming through. And a couple more shots. There is a Stalker already getting knocked down pretty much immediately, so that gets knocked straight on out. And Stimpack Combat Shield and +1 still coming up as our Zealots are going to get jumped on by units there to turn those around once again. Nice easy shutdown. Nexus goes on to the right side of the map. I'm still trying to find some value with these Stalkers. The tank siege, that's the end of the Stalker attack, and I guess I like that, right? He really committed the right amount, that felt like, because just going to be seeing a couple of order turrets going down, Zealots and sentries taking some damage. Let's dive all the way on through. Brio is actually going to do okay here, and eventually it will go down. Did he get enough to justify its cost? I mean, I really felt like he did. The last few Marines still fighting, more units coming across from GuMiho. I think the sequence of events has turned out well enough for him as he moves on up. One of mines maybe don't do the best job shooting, but as these tanks potentially siege, this position is going to be terrifying. We're going to need scans against the DTs, but if we can deal with the Dark Templar, we should be kind of fine. The first DT gets on top of a siege tank. The first tank will go down because of it. Zealots from the left-hand side at the same time. These tanks need a target fire. They need to try and shoot that Colossus down. If that Colossus gets shot down, like good micro from MaxPax. He's pulling it back repeatedly to keep it out of tank range, and now there's only 2 tanks out of the 4 that first set up here. Miner coming across, few probes going down. Colossus not producing any longer off that robo, as we are going to get in for the last siege tank that was there, but has GuMiho done too much? I think absolutely is the answer. At this one, he doesn't need tanks. He can dive that last Colossus, and that's GG's. We're going to game 3. We're going the distance here. GuMiho, MaxPax gonna see themselves a final map of this series. Love it. Absolutely. As we have in the top right-hand side, the red Protoss player representing Storm. This is MaxPax. Bottom left, blue Terran player is GuMiho. Game number 3, deciding map of our semi-final number 1 today. And second best of 3 after this, Oliveira Clem, and then the grand finals coming up after that. Very exciting. There is a cheeky little play from GuMiho, proxying up this barracks, wants to take complete control of the early game here, apparently. So get that set up straight away. Probe gonna hit the SCV. SCV is gonna get this barracks up. There's no way it doesn't get the racks up, even if it takes every single hit on its way. Probe just found it too late, but at least you know about it. That obviously doesn't stop the Reaper from approaching you early, but at least you know what's going on. Here we're gonna hop through. Charge coming up. Zealot on the way. Gonna be seeing our factory coming up again, Reaper coming about. It's gonna be seeing our Zealot on the high ground as that to hit the Reaper. Let's push back around. As a grenade goes down, a couple of probes will take some shots. We are going to have not the probe just yet. Zealot turns around, gets a slice. Nice. Grab the probie. Takes that down. As I get a probe, obviously second Reaper coming up. Adept will not catch the first Reaper, so we will have 2 Reapers together to try and get some harassment done. Already producing a Widow Mine at home. There is 1 probe in the base of GuMiho that's also just watching out for what's going on, right? So he's already kind of just figuring out a little bit of what's up and what's happening. Stargate still building on the side of MaxPax, so that one's just getting started. Widow Mine gets the Adept, which is a great catch. Knock a unit down, and that should make your life easier from here on out. Did we lose a Reaper? No, 1 Reaper came home to get rid of that probe in the main base. So, okay, cool stuff. Stop on the way. CC does get blocked for just a moment. There's still a bit of harass going on in the natural. Dancing around with the Zealot. So that did kill the SCV, so we have to bring a new one down. That is our excitement for these few moments as our Reaper continues to back it up. Zealot will fall. If that Adept had shaded in, there's a new Widow Mine ready to fire on it. So yeah, absolutely not the impressive ideas. Better to disengage from that one and to just live another day, you know? Just live another day. Zeb continues to fight. A couple Widow Mines are setting up. Mr. Toad 86, thank you so much for the 35-month resub on the Prime as our Reapers. Hitting the Nexus for a few moments is a bit of a mistake. A little bit of a shame on that one. 2 probes go down. Is going to be seeing the Adept is going to go. Reaper goes down. A couple more barracks continuing up at the moment here as our Reaper hops down to the low ground, and Phoenix will finally clean this up. There's been a lot of harassment from GuMiho. Genuinely got quite a lot done throughout these early stages. Now these couple of Widow Mines going to unburrow back into the center. 4 mines. I mean, Medevac is just trying to bait. Obviously, I think the Phoenix see those mines, so they're not going to fall for it. MaxPax is very aware that the Terran trickery can be a little high at times. Not going to let this one trick him in the slightest, so... At the same time, can't exactly do much about those mines, just has to let them sit there for the moment, but better the mines are sat in the middle of the map than they are sat in one of his mineral lines killing off probes, so as long as they maintain that position, MaxPax should be kind of okay. Obviously, they're not going anywhere quickly, anywhere soon just yet. They really are just chilling. An SCV over here, apparently still scouting. He's going to spot the Robo Bay. What a great scout. That's so funny. Don't know why, that really tickles me. But yeah, SCV gets to just see the Robo Bay coming up in the natural. Just confirms it's going to be Phoenix Colossus rather than like Phoenix Charge or so. Actually, it is I guess that's why it tickles me, because it's genuinely very good information to have. It's genuinely great information to see. Cyclone locks on. Phoenix takes damage. Force field is good. The Cyclone gets knocked down. Phoenix trying to get there, and the Medevac takes a couple more shots. Just going to sit there. A couple of Zealots will be there as well. We go back and forth. More Cyclone gets knocked down as well. Just going to be seeing the Immortal trying to fight. The Marines coming through. The Widow Mine setting up. We're just going to have our Immortal continue to try and come by there. We scan for the Observer. The battery's about to fall. The Marines will stim it up. Go after that pylon as well. You pull a bit further away. Gets the probe going after the Nexus. And you see how Phoenix going to come back through. A couple of these Marines already getting picked away at. In the end, honestly, good fight from GuMiho. Just kind of peters out at the end. Doesn't have any reinforcements or so to speak of, right? So he doesn't have anything to kind of raid around on to help him out or anything. Not bad, though, in general. I think that was definitely a good trade. Talk about a Protoss player that's equal to workers with the Terran, and that's obviously not a good sign, because the Terran then will have mules on top. So that's generally not something that goes or ends well on the Protoss side, as our Phoenix come back over. The few Marines are going to stem up this high ground. Phoenix are like, nope, get us out of this one. They're just going to turn back around. +1 attack coming up on the Engineering Bay. And again, the Armory already coming through, so bringing that Armory out. The Phoenix going to go back toward the upper right as well. Obviously, GuMiho again his third base done on location during this. That does mean that MaxPax has had a chance to re-extend that worker lead, so gonna undo a little bit of the economic favor that I kind of liked for GuMiho, perhaps. So that that gap will open. It's about an 8 worker difference. Third CC obviously will get you a triple mule. That means a little bit more income available as well. Phoenix left, both Widow Mines go down. That Medevac gets knocked down as well, so that also will fall. I'll say back down to low ground. The rest of the army coming about. IO heading through the bottom, over to the right side for the moment. Show up. Phoenix get pushed back again. Couple Medevacs coming through. +2 attack, +1 armor, all on the way. Phoenix going to rotate back around this top side. Battery does some healing. Observer still on the way out. 6 additional gateways coming through right now as the Widow Mine gets a Phoenix as well. GuMiho preserving a good little army supply lead. Enough where I'd feel good for him if he ended up in a fight, so I'm feeling pretty okay about that. We do have again the +2 attack, +1 armor still coming through on the side of GuMiho. The Ghost Academy is coming up. The mine will go down. Temple Archives is about to finish as well. We will continue to scan out. Our units come across. Pylon will go down on the far right side too. Just going to knock that one down again. Temple Archives just about to be finishing. Once I push back some Marauders, just going to see the Widow Mine to get a Stalker as well. Just going to grab that. Nice and easy. Prism on the bottom. It's going to continue to move around there as Just have the rest of the bio back to the center of the map right now. Observer will take a few more shots. Whilst I just setting up, just going to be seeing the army come up to the right side. Widow Mine goes off. +3 attack, +2 armor, all on the way in. Now Phoenix will continue to come over here. Dive on forward, gonna go grab this Nexus. Nexus will indeed fall the Prism. Moves into the main base. So we're gonna have some counter harass from MaxPax, although he is supply blocked. He wouldn't be able to warp in with the Prism, just unload what's already inside of it. IO quickly here. GuMiho gonna deal with that immediately, and MaxPax is not able to really kind of settle down at all. GuMiho's all over the map. Defensively, he's looking good. He's gonna block the Prism in this direction. He's doing damage on offense. GuMiho's taking a 4th base, and MaxPax sitting on 3. Well, let's see if he can break out soon, because if he doesn't break out shortly, this is going to become a real issue for him. And these pros over here not having a great time either. MaxPax is genuinely falling apart in this game 3. It looks as though GuMiho is getting into a very good setup. Just dive straight into the Natros. MaxPax is like, maybe I can get one big fight off. Well, GuMiho just jumps on him here. The recoil is not very big, but it times out well with the units coming from the other side, so actually makes it a pretty good recoil. Widow Mine here is set, and the Widow Missiles are pretty clumped up. Widow Mine's putting some good work in, hitting Phoenix as well. These last few bio units, I was going to say, might go down, but we disengage because there's still a lot of Marauders to chew through. Just going to be seeing a couple of ghosts trying to find some snipes on this left side, shoot down some of these Zealots. Just guarantee some kills. The more of these Zealots we get rid of, less you have to worry about later on. GuMiho up about 60 supply right here. As the bio continues to fight, a couple of these Phoenix continue to get shot at. Phoenix turning back onto a Viking, and the Viking will not quite go down. Archon getting a couple more shots off once again. But GuMiho just has the numbers again. Working off of 4 bases during this is a massive advantage as well. You see MaxPax trying to get that 12 o'clock up. I don't even know if I love the position of the 12 o'clock. I feel like that one is almost asking for a little bit of trouble. So let's come over. A few of those SCVs keep going down. Yeah, actually do a good job of counterattacking, right? MaxPax is threatening enough here that he can make things a little scary. As the Widow Mines continue to blow up, just Zealot after Zealot. A lot of these Zealots continue to go down. The Vikings pushing the Prism back through the bottom side. Bioforce will continue to go after them Zealots. And again, the Prism all the way out down the south just for the moment. Archon's coming back around. Zealots and the Colossi getting set up. Back into the center here from GuMiho. Army on the left side from MaxPax trying to get settled as well. A couple of Zealots targeted down pretty quickly. One ship weapons coming through. The Marine Marauder still coming out. SCVs still taking hits. Going to dive onto this Robo. Gateway going to begin to go down as well. EMPs onto these few probes. The Zealots are still charging through. Widow Mine still connecting. The Colossus goes down. And again, we're just kind of waiting for GuMiho to find a final fight. That may have just been it. He's on the top side of the map at the same time. Recall does not go off over there. MaxPax losing probes. GuMiho, a GSL finalist, looking to be a finalist today in the WardiTV November Open. Already knocked out Beyond today as well, so it's got to be feeling pretty good in TVT. And would be taking on either Clem or Oliveira in that final, so reason to be happy from him from his own point of view. As the Falons go down, the gateways get depowered, the medevacs load back up from GuMiho. Peeling back across through the top side and escaping away for the moment. GG, says MaxPax. He's done. He's out of there. GuMiho 2-1. And an explosive display here in game number 3. His attacks went off like it was bonfire now just a couple days ago.